Talofa everyone and welcome to the Pacific Morning Show. We are here with the one and only Fitz, activist, community leader, entrepreneur, and co-founder of Barberhood. Fitz, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, pleasure to have you here now for that.
Thank you so much for coming onto our show. We really appreciate it. I can't wait for today's ep, guys. It's going to be mean. How was your day today?
Yeah, it was good. It was a good morning. Did a few things before I start my day. That's all good.
Should we just jump straight into the talk of the day?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We just jump straight in?
Straight in, bro.
Let's go.
I don't know if you're ready
Head
for this Fitz.
Sure.
I know,
So,
what have you got to discuss here?
All right. Okay, so my talk of the day, nothing really, actually, no, it's pretty serious. So there's been some pages going up on social media. Social media, man, it's evolving every day. So a bunch of pollies, no names, created a page on Facebook, and it's called "Do We Have the Same Boyfriend?"
Oh, right.
Yeah, I seen that going around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hundreds of girls on this page just exposing dudes who they feel are maybe promiscuous in the way that they message certain people. And they're exposing people, and there's girls on it like, run. I know that dude. We flirted back in like blah, 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 whatever.
1987.
Yeah. So this group is run by a lot of women, poly women, and Auckland based, let's say that.
Yeah.
But it's not restricted to Auckland. And then we also have a Discord page of anonymous poly men who are sharing the nudes of girls from OnlyFans and girls they just talk to from like Tinder or just girls they pick up on like social media. And they're sharing private leaked
Footage and photos.
All on social media.
Don't
That's
ask
happening.
me how I know about this.
Yeah.
This is so
I'm going to ask you, how do you know about
Look,
this?
I've been part of these Discord pages, and I was just like, oh, what's this? You're going to cancel me?
Yeah.
I'm cancelling
I
you
didn't
right
even
now.
start the thing.
Okay, no, go. You got more
I
experience.
was just on there, but then like I saw what it was, and I was like, nah, this ain't for me. So I left because it's it's infringing on trust.
Yeah.
That you have that. People won't leak this footage online. And it's just gross. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. It's complicated. It's all complicated. What my view is on this, but guys, don't leak those nudes. Women, make sure you properly vet the dude before you start messaging him up and all that sort of stuff because, we know Auckland's a small place.
Yeah. Bro, everyone knows everyone. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
Well, I only just heard about it, but I didn't even give it the energy, to be honest. Like, I didn't even give it the energy to even search it. But it did come through one of my posts. I saw it went up in follows after one day. But then it's also a generational thing. Like for I don't know about you guys, but I think it's more towards the mid-20s.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of youth and young people.
Yeah, and it shows where our boys are going and where their minds are right now. Like, where's the respect that we have for our women? Because that's
Straight
number
up.
one.
Yeah.
So the fact that we've got these pages, it shows that our boys are losing what they call masculinity. Because to be a real man, you got to respect your woman. First of all, you don't send nudes or share the nudes. But even before that, the girl has to respect herself for not even sending nudes. So everyone in that space can just blame themselves. Well, I don't want to say it like that. But everyone in that space needs to sort of...
Everyone's at fault.
Yeah, everyone's at fault, but like what's causing it? Like it's all good to talk about the problem, but what's the solution? Like I know we're jumping the gun, but the fact that, boys are doing this stuff, it's a no-no. I've got a 12-year-old son. I wouldn't even, I'm bringing up my son to be a man, so I wouldn't even expect him to be sending nudes, asking for nudes,
Amen.
you know,
Yeah.
Love
like
that.
that's the talk that we really need to talk about. So rather than, I'm not trying to shoot the topic, but the topic that we should be talking about is how do we better the guys in that space? How do we better the girls in that space? Should we create another page that, like, we should be promoting those pages? Like, say, for example, Kiwi Daddies. Like, you know, that page is about Kiwi Daddies in Australia, bringing men together, talking about mental health, a safe space to, you know. So although it is a topic to talk about this, we should be not highlighting it, because all we're doing is adding fuel
Yeah.
to the fire to bring it to light. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my
Yeah.
perspective on it, but because we're all at different ages.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
you
No,
know.
I agree with you on that one. Sorry for bringing this up, guys.
No, it's all good.
I just felt like it was, that's it. The underlying, like, you're pulling it from the roots now. Like, you're saying, nah, there's a bigger problem at hand. You know, we have our younger boys, and, like, I have a daughter. She's, like, 5. That's the first thing I want to teach her. Like, as much as we like to imagine this world to be a utopia where we send stuff and it's going to be safe, it's not going to
Yeah.
be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to teach our kids, like, this is how you know, safely engage with people online, what not to send. I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Well, maybe like also there's like a societal thing now. It's become like normalized to say things like side chick, side dude, sneaky
Yeah.
link,
Yeah.
all
What
that
is
sort of
that?
stuff. Like, you know, all
It's
these
like dating
things.
culture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's our dating culture. Maybe we need to switch that up as well.
For sure.
Yeah, like for example,
Yeah.
me and my friends in my circle, we all have partners for over 10, 15 years.
Bomb.
You know, so me and my wife, we've been together for 20 years.
That's
That's common though. That's common in me and my circle. You know, long-term relationships is
Yeah.
common, but it doesn't get spoken about because it's not entertaining. You know, so it's
True.
really up to
That's-
us.
that's beautiful.
So when we speak off camera,
Right.
we're always highlighting all the good stuff, but it's the stuff that people want to see isn't a 20-year relationship.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They want to see
It's
drama.
not until they go through the drama and then they want to know, oh, what was your secret?
right.
It's like, hey, get the secret now so
Yeah.
you can start it at your one day instead of,
Like it's like being like in healthy relationships and stuff like that isn't something that's glamorized
Yeah.
in our society.
but it should be glamorized.
yeah,
and-
for
Yeah.
sure.
But it is like, so like say when anyone says I've been in a relationship for 15 years, everyone will go, wow, congratulations. So why isn't it congratulated on camera? You know what I mean?
Right, right.
And for us or for people, because you guys have power, influence power.
Yeah.
So it's really up to you guys to put that
Ooh.
on here. You
I
know what
learned
mean?
something
That-
today,
that's a
guys.
responsibility.
I really learned something today.
Yeah, same.
You guys want to hear about my song
Yes,
of the day?
that's what I'm waiting for.
So I got caught out on TikTok. Not like it was like a backhanded compliment, which is so weird. So it was just this dude who commented on one of Oosgang's weight loss videos.
Shout out to Oosgang.
Shout out
Shout
to
out
Oosgang.
Oosgang.
I'm proud of you, Oosgang. So they said, congratulations, Oosgang, on hitting 6 weeks of your weight loss journey. Unlike Isoa Kawakimoto, who's been on day 1 for like 5 years, and I was just like, what?
Yo.
They called me out. They're trying to bully me into being consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, fair game.
Not fair game.
Well, let's put it like this. I put myself out there to like with my weight loss journey and all that sort of
You
stuff.
did your SWOT analysis.
I did my SWOT analysis, and I just need to be more consistent. But people don't get to see all the other stuff that I'm facing.
Right.
So, you know, I post up that 1 minute workout. So I post up that 1 minute video from like a 45-minute workout. How are you going to see my whole life in context when I show you peaks?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So, I just found it weird, guys.
How did you feel when reading that comment?
Well, initially I felt angry, disappointed in myself, but not directed at the person. But at the same time, I'm just like, they're right for calling me out, but you're not going to bully me into something that is my journey. And I will take my time
100.
to do whatever I want. And you don't even know what I want. I don't even know what I want. But, yeah, that's just me, guys. You guys want to say anything else about this hot off the press TikTok drama?
Well, for me, you could look at it two ways. One way could be, if it was in good intention, he could be thinking, this better motivate Isoa. But the other one that everyone should know is that it's just a reflection of himself. You know, he's just finding that escape to make him feel better. And everyone knows that. Everyone knows when someone says something negative towards someone else, it's just an escape. There's something internally of themselves that they need to work on. So
Amen.
that's always there, you know. But it's just showing empathy towards the guy, not scooping to his level. You know what I mean?
I think I kind of did stoop down to his level. But
It's all good. That's growth within yourself.
Yeah.
As long as you're self-aware and you can identify that. That way, if it does happen again or something negative happens again, bro, no effect. You know?
Yeah.
That means that growth inside of you is tough. You know what I mean?
Man,
Powerful.
who's going to want to speak after that?
I know. Did you
Next
receive
topic.
the therapy that you needed?
Nah, man. Yeah, it's just some of the stuff that I learned in the barbershop with some of the boys, and you know, 'cause
Yeah.
the stuff that comes through is so much.
Right.
You know, so you have to learn how to mentally take it on, and and also some stuff that I've learned at wānangas that I've attended from my father's barber. He's the author of She Is Not Your Rehab.
Yes.
Right.
So
yes.
I've done a couple of wānangas with him. The first one that we went to, it was a 2-day, 2-night event, and it took me me and my team that I went with, it took like 3 weeks to download.
Right.
Like, this is I went to it, and I came home. My wife was sitting at the table. I sat with her, and I just cried. Like, it was that powerful. So when we went to it, it was like, okay, this is the kind of barbershop we want to be. So we brought that style back, and that's why we do what we do. Because when we first started, we were trying to figure out, you know, what kind of barbershop we are. We like to do community work, and then within the first 6 months, the wānanga came. And then we attended it, and we're like, oh, yeah, sweet. This is what we want to do. We want to focus on men's mental health. We want to focus on our community. We want to focus on our barbers, our barbershop,
Right.
you know, and bringing that style back to Auckland,
Nice.
you know, because Auckland, the thing with Auckland is it's so big and people get lost amongst society, if that makes sense, and you have to put on this front,
Yeah.
you know, you got to put on this hard front,
Yeah.
when really everyone just wants to connect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Like behind like all the masks and
Yeah.
facades, everyone just wants.
And that's what we learned
Yeah.
from there. That's why one of our policies, or not policies, but one of our what we stand by in our shop is when you walk into our barbershop, you leave your ego at the door.
Nice.
You know,
Love that.
that way we're all equal playing field.
Yeah.
You know, the space, you can speak about whatever you want to speak about. Like, there's no right or wrong. There's no judgment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I like that.
And everyone's the same. Like,
Yeah.
like, you could get a multi-millionaire in there, CEO, but when he comes through that door, he's just a
That
human.
himself,
He's
yeah.
just who
Yeah.
he wants to be. That kid, you know.
Yeah.
Nice.
Man, if the world was like that, that would be the perfect world.
For sure. I think I might want to put that sign on our business door. Leave your ego at the door. It'll be good. It'll be good business practice. I believe that because
My goodness.
Once you understand ego
Yeah.
and you can see it,
Yep.
then you understand the person.
Yeah.
And then you sort of just ease off and
Yeah.
you just let them walk their own journey. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you're going through something right
Yeah.
now. As long as you understand, because you
Yeah.
can't control,
Exactly.
Yeah.
you can't control things outside
Yeah.
of yourself.
Yeah.
So you just control how you react.
Yeah.
You gotta back off and just let them do their journey, eh?
And
they'll
it's
learn.
hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. But that takes practice because that's part of your journey.
Yeah. Like understanding that those people are just hurting and it has nothing to do with you. And more often than not, they're just projecting,
Yo.
you know?
No, I'm
Exactly,
just going to be angry. I stay angry at everything.
So you know Deepak Chopra?
Yes.
Deepak Chopra. So Deepak Chopra, he hasn't reacted in 40 years, which
wow.
means if his wife is angry at him and she shouts at him, he's so calm because he knows that she's going through something. She has to work on it. So that's a goal that I want to do as a human, as myself, is to learn to not react, like be so calm at any
Damn.
situation that, you know, you're just so chill.
Yeah.
You know, like you look at those monks when things happen in crisis, they're so chill
Yeah.
because they're mentally but they've been training for so many years.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
That would be a nice, like, goal to, like, work towards.
Yeah.
Man.
Someone crashes into you, you just get out. You know, you're so chill, like you know,
Yeah.
because it is what it is. Like it's out of your control.
Right.
And what's happened has happened. Doesn't matter what emotions you bring to it, the situation's happened. You know what I mean?
That's like complete surrender, like surrendering
Yes,
completely
it
to like
takes practice.
the oh whoa.
Nah, man. I agree with everything you say. Not because I'm being a suspect on this podcast, but not because I'm being a suspect on this podcast, but I honestly align with so much of what you're saying.
But
Yeah.
it comes with age. Like I'm 10 years older than you guys, so I've walked 10 years further and learnt more than yous. And then if I could just obviously speak on it here, then that brings your guys' journey a bit
Yeah.
faster
I love
to
that.
the
Yeah,
to the knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure.
Thanks for sharing your wisdom with us. Appreciate it.
Yo. I'm going to go into our quote of the day.
Oh, quote of the day.
Yeah, you could share this one
Oh,
with us.
yeah.
So.
I was
You
listening
picked
to
this
J.
for us.
Cole. So J. Cole says in one of his songs, "My life is too crazy. No actor could play me."
Ooh.
Think on that. J. Cole said, "My life is too crazy. No actor could play me." You know, the way I interpreted it is just, as a superstar, he lives a very hectic life, and it's just a literal translation of it. You know, and he's encouraging other kids or other people, like, don't try to be me, be you. And be happy that you are unique and you are different from me. And there's a bit of a double entendre in there as well. You know, life is too crazy, actor, play, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of people say life is a play, we're all just actors in it. So yeah, that's just how I interpreted it, but had me in my sitting there thinking, this man is very wise. I don't know, what do you think when you guys hear it?
Man, that's J. Cole, eh? Like, that's even too deep for me to have input on. My mind is still trying to process the lines.
I'm trying to
Like,
process that.
he's the man. He's same age as me. Like, I think he's 38 now.
Wow.
Yeah. So you listen to these older guys, and then you listen to the ones who are older than us. Like
Yeah.
the talk changes as you get older.
Yeah.
Or he's saying, no actor could play me, like, you can't play me, I'm too smart for this.
Yeah.
You know? J. Cole got us sitting here thinking,
He's got us again.
Shout out to J.
That's
Cole.
probably it right there. Like he can't be played.
Yeah.
So Fitz, I know that you run 275 as well, and you're co-founder of Barberhood. Can you tell us a bit about that, Mahi, please?
So Barberhood was founded because brother Paletti, do you know Paletti? He's a barber from Flaxmere, and he was the star on that TVNZ program,
was he the
The
one
Barber,
was he the one that...
with the F.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he was doing his like final episode or get together for that episode, and he came up here to Auckland to do it. And he asked if we could host it at our shop. And the amount of barbers that came through from Auckland, and this was like the first time it was done, came to our shop. There was like maybe 16 to 19 different barbershops. And then me and Letour from Village Collective, so he's the
Oh,
other
yeah.
co-founder. So me and him was at the back, and we were talking about when was the last time barbers from Auckland came together. And we were like, nah, this is the first time.
True.
Like, this is the first time that I've seen it being in the game. I've only been in the game for, I'm not a barber, but I have a barbershop. I've only been in the game for 3.5 years, and I haven't seen it done. And even before that, just going to barbershops, it was never a discussion. And the question was, how did this guy from Flaxmere get all these barbers together from Auckland? You know, and then we're like, okay, we need to form something to bring these barbers, our barbers, together. Because one thing that we found was barbershops are pillars in the community.
Yes.
And like we mentioned before, barbers are also like therapists.
Yo.
So if someone came onto your chair and started talking to you about suicide, and he was like, bro, tonight, bro, I'm going to kill myself. What is that doing to the barber? You know, what does that do for his mental health? And how does that barber handle that situation?
Yeah.
In terms of what's he going to say to the guy on the chair? And how is he going to handle it when he goes home?
Yeah.
So it's about giving our barbers the tools to handle those conversations. And then it's also just, it's duplicating what my father's barber has done, what we've done, and just spreading it across New Zealand. Obviously start in Auckland,
Yeah.
bringing Auckland together, trying to remove ego, because that's one of the biggest things, is removing ego. So everyone who's in Barberhood, once they come in, they pretty much understand that it's a safe space. And what I mean by safe is that you can practice being yourself. You don't have to be anyone else but yourself, and you're accepted for who you want to come as, you know. So that's pretty much it, if I did explain it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you
'Cause I was
did.
just,
Yeah.
I love that you I love that you talked about like how important the role of the barber is, because more like a lot of times people don't have access to therapy, but men go to barbershops, like, and that's their space where they feel safe enough to talk about, you know, issues that are affecting their lives.
talk about anything.
Yeah, talk about
Yeah.
anything.
And I didn't even see it that way as well. I didn't know that,
Yeah.
you know, men used barbershops as a place to like go and offload or things like that. So it's pretty buzzy to
It's just
find out.
just like the hairdressers.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
When women go do their hair,
Yeah.
like they just let it out, you know.
Yeah, what is it? For some work we did last year, we'd interviewed a hairdresser, and they were like, you have that person coming in feeling real low or whatever, but getting to know that the person on the chair, and when you finish the cut, you finish the job, they leave feeling like almost a completely different person.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what barbers do. Obviously, I haven't been to a barber in a long
Yeah.
time, but might be time for me to pop in for a cut sometime this year, eh, Fitz?
Yeah.
Bro, come through, bro.
Yeah,
We'll look after
man.
you.
Because that's completely
And shout out
underrated
to
what
the
these guys
barbers at
do.
the shop too. Like
Yeah.
for me, like, because I do other stuff other than being in the barber shop, and because I have a team behind me that I can trust, and like it's solely taking care of itself. Like the boys just look after everything. I don't have to worry. It gives me time to go and do other stuff, which I got a shout out to the boys, Baba Mux and Cams. They're the barbers that are there now, and our other brothers that just left is Baba Inoa, Baba Leo, and Big Baba Mo.
Shout out to you guys.
Yeah, and the reason why they left, so Baba Leo's moved back to Australia. Big Baba Moy's left to pursue another goal of his. So he started with us 2 years ago, and he wanted some growth in barbering, but he grew as a man, and he also grew in a different lane. So I don't even know if I'm allowed to announce it on here, but he's gonna go open him up a restaurant in Papakura.
Oh, I love that.
Nice.
So he had
Me.
no thought of that coming to our shop,
Right.
and then we encouraged him. So what our barbershop does as well is we encourage you to pursue your passion, you know, And even if you don't know what it is, we encourage you to do your best in whatever lane you're in, and from that lane, something will come.
Yep.
So when Moy came for growth as a Moy, bro, I hope I can tell your story. So he came to obviously grow as a barber and obviously in managing and stuff like that. But he was also side hustling not even side hustle, he was barbecuing as a passion. Then that passion grew into a side hustle, and then opportunities was presented, and now he's...
Are these the smash burgers that I've
Yep,
seen on
that's
your
the
store?
smash burgers.
Man, I want to try that.
We should go try it
We
out.
need to try it
Barber
out.
Mo, big smoking Mo. So he was Big Barber Mo, retired now from the barbering industry, and now he's Big Smoking Mo.
Big smoking.
So he's one of the boys that's left, and then also Baba Inoa, he's leaving to do youth work.
Oh,
So
man.
he's come in, yeah.
So cool.
So he's come in and do some
Yeah.
stuff.
Man.
That's a mean testimony to your work.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's like Baba Mux. Well, it's same as Baba Mux. He's got this thing called men to cut or mental cut. So it's all about the men, like, I don't know if I'm going to do it justice by explaining it, but it's all about the haircut. And it's all about sitting with the guy. But he goes into rehabs and he works with high-profile criminals.
Right.
Yeah, these are the ones that are, the only way you can come back into society is coming through rehabilitation. So he's doing that work. And then we got Cams. Like Cams, he started off with us as a 17-year-old. Hope I can tell your story also. But he started off as a blood, and he was repping hard.
Yeah.
And then he did this post on Instagram where he crossed out the C when he wrote something.
Yeah.
Which we all know that's
Yeah,
just how
yeah.
it works
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that culture. And then I pulled him up on the next day. I just said, also, you have to remember who those Crips are, because those Crips are our Usos as well.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're standing on them to put yourself higher. So it's like, because he was only 17, he's still learning. So
Yeah.
I said, what you're doing is you're standing on our brothers to put yourself higher. Even though they're a Crip, the culture is, yes, that's how it is, but you don't need to stand on anyone to...
Yeah.
If anything, you have to pull someone up to
Yeah.
Yeah.
you. So the next day when he posted, he wrote a K. And for me, that was growth in those first, and you should see Cams now. So he's a father, he's settled down,
Wow.
and he's focused on his barbering, but he's also a subcontractor to our shop, which makes him a businessman.
Yep.
So what we try and do and the structure that we have at our shop or within 275 is we encourage you to be your own business, which allows you to have more of the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So-
I know what you mean.
So that's his route now. So he's going down that route of learning about subcontracting
Right.
and just being his own business.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way things go.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not trying to highlight or trying to toot our horn of 275, but it's the culture that we have there, and it's about surrounding yourself with people that want to do better and be better.
Yeah.
Because if Cam's left our shop, who knows? Oh, he could be a billionaire by now. Who knows? But he is better now, and he's growing now than when he first started. And that's all our team, including myself, from when I first started it. So.
Yeah.
And then we're just putting that with Barberhood and just linking up with other barbershops who just want to do better. And if one thing you notice about barbers, I can pretty much say that all barbers, or 99% of all barbers, are good people. Because who wants to touch someone every day and be in their space?
Yeah.
People can't do that, and
Yeah.
not everyone's cut out for it. So these barbers have qualities that not everyone have. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So it's about highlighting those qualities and just bringing it all together, in something, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what is it? Just tying it to this, because you work in the community, not only with, the amazing work that you do with 275 and with Barberhood. I remember seeing back when it was like hardcore Toa Samoa season that you guys needed, extra funds for a fan zone that you guys were putting together. And we'll just, base that loosely onto this next question that I have here, is that, and not saying that you got less than legitimate funds for it, right? But a lot of times communities have immediate needs that need to be met. And what are your thoughts on, say, money that is less than legitimate serving the needs of the community? Kind of like how, was it American Gangster, when
Yeah.
Frank Lucas was like handing out Christmas hams or Christmas turkeys to
We got
people?
Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
And like, in the hood, we don't wait. If
Yeah.
something needs to happen, and whether it's like a family event, we like, okay, let's go search money, whether it be our wider family or other ways. And sometimes going through usual processes, whether it be the banks, the governments, takes a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts on, so sort of like the Robin Hood concept.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, you have to ask the question, why are they helping? Because there's no one else helping.
Yeah.
So there's obviously a gap there
that needs to be met.
our gangsters, our drug dealers, and our hustlers are filling.
Yeah.
So can you, like, for myself, I'm not promoting selling drugs, but I'm promoting on how the money is spent afterwards. Because if, say for example, if they don't do it and they don't sell, that person who's buying the drugs is still going to buy drugs from somewhere else, but that someone else isn't putting the money back in the community. He's probably
Right.
just going to spend it on himself on a new Maybach Benz or something. You know what I mean? So I can't really fault what's happening after they do the transaction, but I support anyone who does good. You know what I mean? But in saying that, because I myself, I hardly talk about this, but I used to slang in my time. But now that I've stopped, I've done a lot more for myself, and I've grown a lot more for myself and done more than I ever did. Because when you're slanging, it's fast money, bro.
Yeah.
It's money come, money go. Like, you can just go out for dinners every night. You can go out for breakfasts every night. Like, money come, money go, living that easy money life. And your creativeness goes with it. And that's what I've learned, that if you get pushed into a corner where you have no money,
Yeah.
and then you're forced to think with your brain, how do I get it? And if you're hustling, bro, if you're hustling, you know how to make money, which means you know how to make money in all paradigms other than selling drugs. But you just got to believe in yourself to stop selling drugs and believe that you know how to make money elsewhere. Because the concept of selling drugs is business.
Yeah.
And it's transferable skills.
Yo.
And that's all it is.
That's
For
what I've
real,
always thought.
yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
know, if you can make mad money like selling, you could do really well in business. Like in business,
Yeah.
like legal business, there's a lot of barriers, like the contract signing, registering your business, and all these processes. It's hard, but I feel like there is good that can come from it, even though the taxes go out. But if the G's were like to like bring their transferable skills into real business, they will do really,
They'll
really
kill
well.
it.
You learn how to handle pressure. So depending on where you are ranked in selling, so if you owe someone money, that means you've got a deadline. And if you meet your deadline, that's a transferable skill that you've met deadlines. And that's what business is all about, meeting deadlines. But the key to business, or the number one thing to business is supply and demand.
Yeah.
So rather than supplying and demand on drugs, it's like, okay, what's a demand that's out there? Okay,
How do we meet that?
meet the supply for it. That's all it is. That's all business is, supply and demand. Solution to a problem. That's all it is.
Exactly.
So I believe that all of us as polys, it's in us, because we got that Polynesian ingenuity to make something out of nothing. You can word it in many different ways, but at the end of the day, we all know how to just create.
Yeah.
We're creators.
Yeah.
And just like tying that in.
But back to that question about the drugs
Yeah.
and the Robin Hood concept. Robin Hood, was he a good dude or a bad dude?
Great
Yeah.
dude.
It depends on which side of the coin you
Yeah,
stand
it
on.
depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm optimistic. So I always look at the positive. And just like what I said before, I'm not going to talk down on any of my brothers, you know, to make me look good. If anything, I'm going to encourage these brothers to transition,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Take those skills that you're learning, take that money that you're getting and learn how to make it into good money, you know. That's all.
I think that's a very humble approach, And I wanted to just talk about, you know, you guys have been doing a lot of community work for, especially with the floods that's been happening in Auckland. And have you been seeing that, like that gap that you're talking about where families need something, but it's been hard for the council, government agencies to make happen? Have you been seeing that in your experience?
What I've seen is just like what you have seen with the mayor, Wayne Brown, is he said he blamed his bad decisions on his advisors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the problem there is he waited, and you take it back to what you're talking about before. We don't wait. So the problem with the system and the way the government works is they all wait for someone.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like the floods has happened, and like how long did it take before anyone reacted? Like at a
At like a high level.
yeah, I think it was 2 days.
Yeah.
But we were fortunate enough that we did have some local councils or some local people that made it happen. I think it was Alf that pulled some strings with the Mangere local board, you know. So
Shout
yeah.
out Alf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out Alf, you should have a rest.
And I know some of the battles that you've had with the...
Yeah, with the local board
With
as
the
well.
local
Like,
board.
man, I've had some issues with them, but everything's been put to the side. So in the time of crisis,
Yeah.
like everyone comes together,
Yeah.
and it should be like that all the time anyway.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Exactly.
My
Crazy.
goal, so obviously, I don't know if anyone knows out there, 275, we're also a 275 clothing brand.
Yeah.
So 275 Clothing is a clothing brand of Mangere, and we want to be the official clothing brand of Mangere. There are other clothing brands out there, but we want to be the official clothing brand. The reason why is because the profits that we make from that brand of 275, we try and put it back into the community. If I create this brand that people want to support, that money comes from our community,
Yeah.
and then it goes back out to the community. So it's like you know, the concept of fubu, for us, by us?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing, but it's
Me.
275.
Yeah.
Then hopefully we create influence to inspire other people to do the same.
We're not exposing these. I mean, sorry. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to your Pacific morning show. So, Fitz, we've discussed a lot about the work that you do in the community and the amazing work that 275 has done, and you know, with Barberhood. I feel like I'm repeating myself from earlier, but anyway, there's this example that I had seen online, and I'm kind of down with it because it also ties a lot into what's happening here in Auckland or New Zealand, you know, with all the ram raids and stuff going on. So there's this hypothetical idea that if Batman, Bruce Wayne, didn't tool himself up with all these crazy gadgets and, you know, the Batmobile and all that sort of stuff, if he had taken that money that he used to hear around and punch poor people and, you know, all that sort of stuff, if he took that money and invested it in social programs that could help lift Gotham out of poverty and crime and all that sort of stuff, it would do a lot more than him being Batman. You know, it would do a lot more. It would benefit the community more. So what are your thoughts on these people or organizations that sit on funding instead of using it to help benefit the community?
Good question, brother. What
Light
do you
and
make me
breezy.
think for?
Just light and breezy.
So, repeat the question one more time.
So,
What do I think about the people who sit on this funding?
yeah, who sit on funding? Like, because you've recently been approached by,
Yeah.
you know, an organization that's got funding and be like, look, these guys are doing amazing work.
Yeah.
Here you go.
So I have nothing against these people who sit on funding, because one thing that I've noticed or seen is that the funding is there to be given out, but people aren't applying for the funding. And
Or lack of access.
Lack of access.
lack of access, what do you mean by that? Like,
So say like, if you didn't know that the funding
yeah,
was here.
exactly. So the money's there, there's money there, and it's there to be given out. Because you got to understand that if I've been given 10 million to give out as a funder, and I don't give out that 10 million, it's going to be cut next year, 8 million. And then if I don't do that, so my job as a funder is to give out that money. So the problem is not the funders giving out the money, it's the access and the knowledge about where to get the funding. But I also think that's also part of the process for us to not get the funding,
Yeah.
you know, because if you know, it's those, if you know, you know. If you're a funder and your friend owns a business, you're gonna give it to your friend first. That's how. What are those big Salvation Army and that?
Yeah.
So they get allocated funding before it even opens up. You know, and that's a who you know thing. It started as a who you know thing, and now because Salvation Army's been going on for years, and they've proven themselves. I've seen how people get funding, for example, 10,000, and they've allocated it to the community, but they somehow only give 2K to the community and give 8K for their own pockets. That's how the funding game works. And for us that are coming through, we've got the heart.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why all the funding that we get will go back.
Yeah.
So I would say that we just need access. So if you guys get funding or you guys apply for funding, then you should let your people know, hey, there's some funding out here.
Yeah.
Because I know there's organizations that act like it's their money already.
Yeah.
And they don't even
What are they
tell
called?
you.
Funding gatekeepers, eh?
Yeah,
They're like,
gatekeepers,
bro, stop
like,
acting like
they
it's
don't
coming
even-
out of your bank account or
Yeah.
something,
They
They
eh?
don't even tell you, like, they don't even tell you there's, like, go for this funding.
Yeah.
And that'll be the issue. It's not really
Yeah.
the fund holders
Yeah.
because, yeah.
Speaking of access, like we did this thing with Foundation North where we were like given money to help give to like the communities in South Auckland, and like a group of us came together and we're like, man, like we talked about accessibility and how hard it is for like people to even apply, and I just feel like a lot of the processes for funding right now, we found that who wants to write 5 pages, worth of writing? Who can write these 5 pages or 10 pages
Yo.
like worth of like applications to apply to get funding? Who has time to do that? A lot of people who need funding actually don't have time, and we felt that the processes were just geared towards a certain group of people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cater towards everyone, like the community.
Yeah.
And so we talked about how we were just like, I feel like more like funders actually need to go out into the community, see
Yes.
what's being done in the community, and go and give funding to them. Like that's
Yeah.
their job.
Exactly like what Te Hapai done with us.
Exactly.
Like,
Didn't have to
exactly
fill out
that.
anything.
That's
just
why I
gave
was
it
like,
'cause
you're
they
so
saw us.
lucky.
Yeah.
Like, you're actually so lucky. And we went to, our Blue Wave team went to a consultation with the Otara local board, and they asked literally everyone who was there, a bunch of lovely people who were social workers, like, they work in that space. And they asked us, how can we improve our system? And I was like, well, can you make the application process verbal? A
Yeah.
video presentation, something that we can present as bus speaker people were visual learners,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they were like, sorry, we can't do that. It has to be the written process. So I think it'll be a long time until governments and these organizations can actually accept that there should be a different way of approaching funding. But right now it's writing, budget, and how great your project is on paper.
But
Yeah.
It
But I
should-
totally get where you're coming from. And the
Yeah.
community have expressed their concern as well. Like, we have our projects. We can present it in this way, just not in the way you want it to look.
Crazy.
Because I know, like, at the moment, we are applying for funding, and that's with Foundation North. That's our first proper full process.
Yeah.
And we actually got help.
Nice.
So Foundation North have, I don't know what their titles are, but they actually help you with the funding process to make sure that we've filled it out correctly.
Yes.
And, like, it's hard work.
Yeah. But
It's
can I
hard
just say
work.
Foundation North is really helpful. They're good.
Yeah.
In my experience with them. Yeah.
No, they are. I actually love them.
I've
They're
been
really
dealing
helpful.
with Albert Scott.
Oh, that's my cousin.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that
you
your
know
actual-
that.
oh.
Yeah, he's my first cousin.
We outing our connections now.
I think we gotta cut this part too.
Yeah, so he's been working with us to get it done because
Mean.
that one there that we're applying for is 275 day. So,
Oh, no
yeah,
way.
For 275 day, that's the one that we really want to.
Because you did one, I came to it last year.
Yeah, we've done 3 so far.
Yeah.
Started in our barbershop and in 2020, and then 2021 it grew to the Mangere Arts Centre, and we collabed with Rep FM on that one. That was the young entrepreneurs. And then we did it, the 3rd year was last year, and that was in the court'yard.
That was amazing.
So
Yeah.
this year we want to do it in the, regardless, like what I tell people, funders and that, like regardless if you're gonna give us the money, this initiative is gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
we don't rely on funding. Like it's in our culture. We can make things happen.
Yeah.
Can
So
I just add something? Sorry, this is I have a lot to say
No,
about
no, that's
funding.
cool. Yeah,
You know how you said it's gonna happen regardless?
Yeah.
On certain fundings I've seen across, you have to prove that it can't happen without funding to get the funding.
oh, well,
Yeah.
yeah, well,
Like that's a barrier in itself.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
obviously I'm gonna tick the box that says it's gonna go regardless. Like I'm not gonna, because if you lie on the application, you're a sellout.
Yeah,
You know,
true.
so you don't want to
true.
sell out. And
Yeah.
one of our core values is integrity. So you got to make sure you do things properly. And you know what?
Yeah.
Are you gonna buy me? You know. So that's what I mean. Regardless if we get it or not. Shout out to Albert because he really wants us to make this happen, and it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna happen regardless.
27th of May.
27th of the 5th,
We'll be there.
275.
I'll be there.
So the whole
days as
concept
well.
of that is bringing Mangere together and highlighting all the positives of Mangere. So it's about bringing out all the local businesses that are in
Nice.
Mangere. So it's like an expo, so people know who's who. And it's about letting those businesses, it's businesses and community working together. That's a line that I just got off Butterbean this week.
Man.
Shout out to
Businesses
Butterbean
and
as well.
community.
Shout out to
So it's
Butterbean for
businesses
the
and
amazing
community
work
working
you're
together, which was putting some words to what I'm already doing.
Yeah.
And it's about, so basically the community, the businesses coming out from Mangere, so our community knows who's the businesses in Mangere and where to support. But then it's also those businesses knowing who's out in the community to put some of your profits. Like we're not asking for, 1% of your profit from business, from 800 businesses is a lot because there's 850 something registered businesses in Mangere.
Oh.
You know?
That's a lot.
Yeah, so if we all gave 1% of our profits
Yeah.
to 275 Foundation to put back into the community, then, you know,
Yeah.
That would be
and
cool.
then it's solely reliant on our people. So
Yeah.
say, for example, if we gave the money to the foundation and the foundation opened a youth hub in Mangere, that youth hub is solely funded by Mangere locals, you know. But that's the whole concept of 275 Day, creating the platform for artists to come and perform. Because there's a gap in the entertainment
For sure.
as well.
Yeah.
There's the starters and then there's the performers. Where's all the platforms in the middle
Yeah.
to get you to this level? So
Exactly.
275 Day is one of them. And then we do a 275 live in our barbershop to help people go live.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's 275 Day anyway.
Can I just tie back
Sure.
to my earlier question with the Batman thing?
Yes.
Just with all the crime and the ram raids and everything that's been happening, and you know, we can all cough it up to, you know, the increased price of living and all this post-COVID nonsense that's been going on.
Yeah.
How do you think we can best prevent? How do you think we can best prevent ram raids from happening, or you know, minimize them? Because we keep hearing from politicians about the tough stance on crime that they're going to have depending on which party you're on, and all of this stuff that's all going to come forward from, from an election year. But as someone who lives and breathes the community, what gaps do you think need to be filled in order to prevent ram raids from happening or to minimize all of these crazy crime sprees?
That's a good question, bro. And that's a big question too.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Because what causes ram raids? Is it poverty or is it because kids are bored?
Yeah.
So it's a massive thing. Like you can't just pinpoint one thing and then that's the answer.
Exactly.
Like it's a whole massive thing that we all got to work together, and it's also generational. It doesn't happen in one generation. Like in my lifetime, crime isn't gonna stop unless we all work together, so we can raise our children properly, so they raise their grandchildren, and then it just carries on like that. So that when we're gone, 3 generations in, they only know good.
Yeah.
But if we're not sort of working on helping those here now to be better or to even just see the light, then it's just going to carry on generation after generation. So we could repair 5 kids here, which might fix, their generations, but there's other people. So it's a real massive, to me, it can be done, but it's going to take work,
Yeah.
Or we could just pack up, leave the city, go create a farm out in the Wops.
That's my dream.
Create our own laws of sovereignty and common law, and live like that.
I'm
'Cause
keen on that.
Common law is like common law and living in sovereignty. You just live by, I think, 3 or 4 things. It's don't damage people's property, stand in honor, that let your yes be yes and your no be no, and don't hurt people. That's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I was
Yeah.
like, let's go.
I'm keen.
Sign me up.
This world is drowning.
Because this is not a rabbit hole, but this is also truth. It's about sovereignty under God, right? So when we are all born in this world, we're born as a sovereign being under God. But the minute that we sign the birth certificate, it's actually a registration to put ourselves into the system. Then we're governed by a government. Therefore, we're not under God, we're under the government. And then we're all following maritime law, which is the government law. Like this can all be searched up. Like if it's a massive thing, but if you look up those 2 things, you can.
Well, we're all governed under King Charles.
Yeah.
Okay, because King Charles, whoever's the reigning sovereign of England, doesn't have a passport because all the passports are issued in their name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sovereignty means that you're sovereign to the land under God. So what gives King Charles the right to be sovereign under God and we go under him?
Yeah.
We haven't committed any crimes. Why are you treating us like we're going to commit crimes? You know what I mean? And you following maritime law is you abiding and being in contract with that law, So this is a whole nother topic that you can look up.
Yeah.
Maritime law, common law, sovereignty, and strawman. If you want to start this journey about learning the system, jump on YouTube and look up who is your strawman or what is your strawman.
Right.
So your strawman is your birth certificate, and when you're born, you're actually signing yourself over to the crown, and that's your registration. So our parents didn't know this. Remember, you only take it back 200-300 years, there was no birth certificate. So the system's all new. So you imagine how we all lived before the system,
Yo.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be hard for people, because this is all we know. It's the
that's all
system,
we know.
eh? Yeah.
So my mum was born in it. Therefore, she registered me. I was born in it. But if we don't get taught it, then we're never going to know.
For sure.
So we only know what we know. And so other stuff, history books being burnt, So whose story gets told? The Victorian or the winner of the war.
They always
Yeah.
So,
There's so much.
Yeah.
For sure.
Was that library that got burnt down? Was it I can't remember. Was it like Alexander?
Oh, the Library of Alexander.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was always wondering. I was like,
Yeah,
man, I
they
wonder
said that-
what info that was in
They
that
said
library.
that what the burning of the Library of Alexander set humanity back many centuries.
Yeah,
You know, because of just all the knowledge that was kept in there.
that's lost and gone forever.
Oh well, it is what it is.
And
If
Man,
it was
who
discovered,
burnt it? Last question.
Well, the question is it burnt? Like,
Is it burnt?
Yeah, like you can't take history for what it was. So history, when
Oh,
you break
right,
it
right,
down, is his story.
Yeah,
So it's about him telling his story. And who's him?
yeah.
It's
it's the victor.
yeah.
Or, you know, if you look at it, if you know, you can look at it like, man, what did we lose and all that sort of stuff. But if you look at it like this, like, if it was discovered once, it could be discovered again.
right.
We just gotta find out what was. We will never find out what was lost, but we can rediscover it. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. No, that's.
Cool.
I'm going to do a lot of YouTubing and research tonight. Keen
Yeah.
as, but thank you so much
Sorry
Fitz,
to
for
throw
coming
you
on
off
our
topic.
show.
No, you're
No,
fine,
you're all
Fitz.
good.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Thank you.
Such a good conversation. I feel like there's going to be so much value in the wisdom that you've given us today. We really appreciate it. I can definitely tell from this one conversation that I've had with you, you come from a very humble background, and you're willing to push like our communities to new lengths. So thank you so much. Is there any last words that you wanted to share with our audience?
I just want to say thank you to you three for inviting me here. And for giving me the opportunity to speak and share my opinions, share my knowledge. But probably the last thing I would like to add is to everyone who's got parents, respect your parents. You know, like there's so much last words. It's like, oh yeah, hustle hard, or nothing. But nothing will come to you unless you look after your parents. You know, call your parents, call them, tell them you say you love them. Like, because I'm a parent, my daughter's 19, and I've been 19, you've been 19. But then you get to a sort of time in your life where you're busy, you know, just trying to hustle and grind. But in reality, at the end of all of this, you're hustling and grinding so you can spend more time with your family. You know, so don't let your hustle and grind take you away from what you have right now. So, you know, call your parents, you know, and love them and just be good children, you know, and be good parents.
Taya Manuia, good morning.